When it comes to privatization exercise in Nigeria, as a person and with my organizations that I served as a consulting partner, we have been a transaction advisor to up to 7 privatization exercises, and we won about 3 of those privatization exercises. But I'll say clearly, the Nigerian privatization model is still very wrong. It's a transfer of assets. When you want to privatize something, if 4 of us seated here decide to take over channels, we've not privatized, we sold it. But if you take channels to the public market where Nigerians buy shares and become owners, then we're talking. So when it comes to that ownership relationship, then it makes sense. But when you say we'll do this privatization, it's transfer of assets. Let's not just call for privatizations only, but let's review our privatization model, and then we'll understand what we are doing, what has other nations done and how they did it and how they did it well. So that is a clear point that should be defined. For the refinery, nothing stops private sector from, it's not whether you privatize or not that determines whether private sector should go on or not. No, there's no direct bearing to that. But as far as government can say, okay, anybody that wants to build a refinery, we are ready to allow 4 or 5 people to build a refinery to meet our dates, and they committed to it, and they go ahead. There's just 2 things they need to sign for that. Just 2 things. One, the feedstock is guaranteed. If I build a refinery and I don't have a guaranteed feedstock, it's a museum, and we'll get it straight. So once they guarantee that the feedstock is there, and they will go extra mile to sign the off-takers agreement. Okay, if you do this refinery, we will not import from any country. We must buy from you, being a local producer.
And that will also mean that the market forces will determine the price.
The price.
Could there be a short-term solution to this, or we just have to say, well, in 2 years, maybe this is what we will work on. But for now, we have to make do with what we have.
When you look at short-term, short-term is just an absorbing one, but we should look at something that is lasting. I wouldn't want to just fall into, okay, let's provide this, you know. If you look at the CBN policies of says, okay, include this in the list, remove this in the list, you know. School fees has been included, medical bills has been included. Maybe next is it will be our foreign meals. Maybe if you buy food abroad, so what comes into that list keep going up, keep going up. On a short-term measures, it involves everybody.
Can we close our eyes and look beyond oil?
There are nations that survive beyond oil, and we can survive beyond oil. I understand a simple thing. Technology keeps determining what happens. We did not, the energy source did not move to coal because the fossil wood got exhausted in the bush. And we did not move out of coal to crude because the coal got exhausted in the soil. And we will not move out of crude because it's exhausted. It's technology that will make us. That same technology that made us move from wood to coal, from coal to this, will make us move.
But you know, a lot of people are really worried about the Naira and the fact that it's sliding, and you know, they're beginning to encourage us to look inwards, you know, let us patronize locally made goods. How do you think that would work?
Okay, one would say it's easy to say let's patronize locally made goods. And where is these goods coming from? How are they being made? Do we have the structure for these goods to be manufactured? I can tell you today in Nigeria, let me pick a particular industries and we'll look at it. Let's take the textile industries as a case study. How many of those industries are producing fabrics today? How many garment factories do we have in Nigeria that can guarantee of making? We're talking about garment factories, we're not talking about tailors. That's where we're talking about patronizing local goods. Until we begin to sell all our Ndires, all our native have been put into size. You need a tailor to measure you for you to know your size when you're buying native. But the same you will buy a foreign-made dress of your size, and you know the size. Because they are being made from garment factory, our sizes are put in place. But in here, we still just, when we talk about patronize this, let's be really, really serious and understand what we are talking about. Is it that we patronize them in the shoe we buy, or we patronize them? I'm taking this one as a typical example. So we should be more realistic to it so that we will understand that. If government is saying that, let's patronize this, what is being done? And there should be an intentional this to drive it. Come, go to Mr. President's bedroom. The bed he sleeps on could be foreign bed. Let's face facts. So how will you tell others to patronize that? The garment you wear is 50% cashmere. So how will you tell people to patronize that? Let's face facts about that. The moment you walk into the villa gate and you walk in, the waiting room furniture is there. May not even be made from here. And you're saying, patronize what? There should be an intentional act that says, okay, during Soludo, we may propose that we should try to run a statistical budget system where you can say, okay, this year, from industry, we want to establish this number of industry. And Nigerians will know about it.
Do you know why I'm smiling? I'm smiling because, yes, it's very possible that most of the furniture in Aso Rock might not be made in Nigeria. But then would we now say we should ship out all the furniture there and get made in Nigeria furniture to fill Aso Rock because of that?
Okay.
Would that be?
Whenever there's change of government in Nigeria, all over the world, whenever there's change of government, there's change of everything in that house. Okay.
At least the budget for it.
In most cases, that's what we notice.
We know the budget.
So, what I'm trying to say is that there should be an intentional act where you can say, is okay, today we want to establish, before 365 days runs down, we need to establish 10 textile factory in Nigeria of global standard, and it will be marked, and fund and processes that will lead to it will be done, mechanism that will lead to that business establishing, an innovation hub that will lead to that establishment will be structured in such a way that we'll pick this 10, and the government set up a team with private business owners that have shown interest in this and lead them to fruition of that. Then we'll set that aside. You say we want to establish furniture factory. There are already local Nigerians that are building furniture. Here, you can pick 10 of them and decide to fund them to mass capacity. And each of them will employ thousands of people. If someone that is already doing well, he has a factory that is huge, he can produce and supply, and you say, you know what, we want to take it to another stage. We want to take it to be a mass supplier. Let's go all over the world and know what it takes to have the global standard of furniture factory. And the system is you. That money you're getting for those equipment, for every establishment, comes as loan, as grants. And one thing the government first understands that when you do this, you are already making provision for higher earning for the government. More people will be employed, more people will pay tax, you no longer fight crime, these people will be out of the street. And take a typical policy of Obama. During this crisis of Chrysler, Obama said, let's bail out Chrysler. And they were working out how to bail out Chrysler. And in that process, do you know what he did? They introduced a particular technology that every Chrysler must use so that it will now consume a lesser fuel to run. So by doing that, they're already reducing the national fuel consumptions. But to you, you will look at they're spending money to fund this company. And also, they've already checked, if we don't give this fund to Chrysler, these people will be out of job. About 5,000 people will be out of job. Take your calculators, you must pay them unemployment compensation for 2 years, which is 85% of whatever they used to earn. And they have to pay that for 2 years. So why wait to pay that? And some of them, after 2 years, may become criminal, may get involved in one thing or the other, may even die, and you have to pay insurance for sudden death and all that. So let's sum these facts and let's, stop this joke. Inject this money back for this company to be alive. These are the kind of policies that we should be thinking about if we want to revive this country, until we get to the point where we produce everything we consume. We produce everything we consume. We don't have to say we jump to it. let's set a step. Every budget year, and we define sector by sector. This is what we want to achieve in that area. Then it will begin to roll. It will begin to make sense. And we can ask us, okay, in the first 1 year, we will achieve this in terms of short term. No. There are so many things that.
Yeah, difficult yet simple. It means we just need to think, and they're not so far away from us. Well, thank you very much indeed, Onuoha Nnachi, an energy economist, for breaking it down to us. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, we will be back in a moment. Don't go away.